Okay, we'll try this. I'm going to do audio only. So, some background on me. I did go to college. I went to Auburn University for 2.5 years. Nothing to brag about. Barely got in. Scored 19 on the ACT test twice. Pissed me off that I only scored 19 because I graduated with a college prep diploma. I think I covered this. Anyway, my aptitude is natural science. I have a really good knack for being able to figure things out when it comes to figuring natural sciences out, and I'm talking deep conceptual things. Now, my analysis points are basically from a macro standpoint, from my conspiratorial background, my religious background, religious/conspiratorial background, my whole tracking down the enemy within. There's a trucker that that has a channel called the enemy within is in his title. I think it's a word or two more than just enemy within, but those two terms, those two words together, just like that, enemy within, are in the title of his channel. I'm gonna let's talk resonance, vibration, sound, tone, and frequency. Okay, from a scientific standpoint, and taking into consideration a musical standpoint. As a musician, it kind of relates. If you saw, try to keep your mind on the same track. If you got your mind into the kind of gear that it was in, if you were following what I was kind of getting at with the perfect distance between the notes that are in the scales, and that I suspect, and I would bet that I'm right. Okay, I can't prove it, but I would bet that an analysis would reveal that all of the scales, however, I think there are 11, 12, 13 scales or something. I think that's all that there are. Okay, I think there's 12 keys, and there's 12. There's, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I don't know how many scales there are. Okay, I think it's not that many. It's somewhere around 10 or 12 or something, I think. All right, but I'm willing to bet anything that if you took each one of those scales separately, you would have a consistency between all of the scales. No matter what scale it was, you would have a consistency to some degree, or at least a pattern. All right, the scales I'm familiar with, the major and minor scale, and the pentatonic, which is the pentatonics within the major and minor, basically. That's just, I mean, that's what I'm aware of, but I'm willing to bet that all the scales, the distance between the notes, the consecutive notes, I'm saying consecutive notes, from the lowest toned to the highest toned, from the bottom to the top, if you climbed one note at another by another in whichever key now, okay, it's going to remain, the tonal difference is going to, the distance between the keys relatively is going to be the same. But now when you're moving up in keys, there is a tonal difference, because as you notice when you look at the neck of the guitar, the frets are closer together, right? So when you look at the resonance test that I point to, which shows the flat square plate, and they're pouring the salt onto the plate, and they're in a lab, and they've got a pitch shifting machine, basically, for a laboratory, meant for testing. Okay, so it's very accurate, and they're turning it up, and what's happening is you're getting more and more complex geometric shapes as you're turning that knob up, and the frequency is getting higher. Now, take that and marry it to, I'll come back to the distance and follow me here. Marry that to, if you've heard the people talking about low vibration. Oh, you hear low. These are low vibration people, or they're thinking their brain is working on at a low vibration right now, or high vibration. Now, if you've heard that kind of talk, you've heard some podcasters, whoever, whatever, social media people, big people, small people, whatever. You've heard, if you've been around on the internet, you've heard that those terms used. Okay, low vibration, high vibration. All right, so we're not getting off in the weeds too much with that. Okay, I'm using it for this purpose. All right, so now keep that in mind. All right, now, keep the aspect of it in mind that as you see that resonance test, what you're watching is the more and more complex symbols or geometric shapes, coming up as the frequency is going higher, right? Okay, now hang with me. We're trying to. Jackett's Black Scout Survival talks about pattern recognition. Someone that looks at everything from a macro level and takes all these different things that are subjects that are in my playlist that I've married together to create the macro view that I have. That I believe is just, I don't know how I became the guy, I swear to God, I swear I have this figured out. I really do. I have the key to stopping this entire planet from having to go through this, and it's rooted in who has the actual money. There's a reason the Constitution said that the government here was supposed to take, never happened, our gold and silver and other precious metals and mint it and coin it for our money. You understand? I'll elaborate on that, y'all. If y'all are interested in me explaining that, I probably already have, to be honest with you. Somewhere I've hit on it, I guarantee you. But okay, so back to the frequency thing. All right, now we've got all this. We've got these more complex shapes. As the frequency goes, it goes into where human hearing cannot hear it, and you end up with it go on in the thing. You can listen to it where you can actually hear the tone, which it disappears after a while when it gets where dogs can still hear it. We can't. That whole thing. All right, but you're still seeing the hertz. They got the hertz down there showing you that they're turning frequency up. You just can't hear it, but you're still getting more complex perfect geometric shapes from the vibration on that perfectly flat plate with that soft on it. It's creating these perfect geometric. Now think what we're talking about. Okay, so low vibration. If someone is low vibration, if their thinking is that just mean that they're simple thinking? These abstract concepts and abstract, incredible genius thinkers like, let's say, Einstein, great physicists, great mathematicians, these people their brain cannot compute that shit that it's doing at a low frequency vibration. They can't. Their brains are popping. Do you hear me? Alright? They're popping. Just throw that into the mix. Now, go back to the musical neck of the guitar. Now, you notice that from those open strings, understand that those 12 frets that I showed you is simply one tiny minuscule in the cosmic reality, probably it would be like a razor blade. This table I'm sitting at, taking a razor blade and barely making a tiny little line on this whole table in the overall scheme of things of the complete vibrational spectrum, and that may not even do it justice. Okay, from low vibration that we can't feel to high vibration that we can't feel. But we have that spectrum we can. Well, those 12 frets on the neck of that guitar, that's a tiny, tiny little, that's me taking a corner of a razor blade, one of the little rectangular ones you can hold, and just barely cutting this table. I'm throwing stuff out there. All right, now, keep in mind, as you're changing keys, now you can go up to that 12th fret, and you could start a new kind of guitar where, let's just imagine all the guitars today, instead of starting where they do, you go all the way up to where the 12th fret is, and it actually starts there. What do you got then? A mandolin? All right, think about it. But look, in reality, what that is simply chopping it up so it can be measured. And you've got 12 little sections in this one little slice of that little razor blade you're making in the whole spectrum. And as you move that up, if you had a guitar neck that didn't stop, think about it. Every 12 frets, you could start your little musical pattern you're using over and all your scales and everything else. But you're going to raise the frequency at which you're doing it. And at some point, the exact same hertz that you see in that resonance test, you're going to end up losing the ability to hear it. But you could continue it. Check this out. Theoretically, to infinity. Right? Now, I'll throw one more thing in there and I'm going to stop. Jimi Hendrix. Why did Jimi Hendrix tune his guitar down, basically like going down one more fret? In other words, he tuned it down what's called basically a half a step. A whole step is 2 frets up. So if you hit the open E note, for instance, I showed you, and you fret the G note, that is a whole step. A half a step is just 1 fret up, one of the metal things across the neck of the guitar. Right. And the standard pitch tuning was changed, apparently. I mean, this is another rabbit hole that's out there. Some of y'all have seen it. Raise your hand if you have. Hello, string manipulators. And at the congregation in Nemesis Division headquarters, Lady Babylon 666, Hail Satan. Hey y'all, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, that 432 hertz is what Hendrix tuned to. And actually, ironically, Stevie, because he was such a Hendrix fan, I think he tuned to that as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember that. I went through a Stevie kick. I like Stevie. Stevie was cool. But yeah, there's not any Stevie. I apologize, Stevie. Stevie, I love you, bro, wherever you're at. He's not. I don't have any Stevie. I'll try to go pull some, for you Stevie fans. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put some Stevie in my Guitar Heroes. I'll go find what I like, what I can go back and reappreciate. You go through that cycle when you're a musician. But yeah, 432 hertz, and then they moved it up to 440 hertz, right? So there's all these conspiracy theories. Oh, why did they do that? They're messing with our frequencies. Well, I mean, they didn't move it much, man. What if all of a sudden Hendrix was tuning 80 guitar necks above it? What kind of complex thinking? What kind of brain cells would get turned on with the frequencies of hearing Jimi Hendrix at fucking 6 guitar necks further up the spectrum of tone, keeping the same consistency that you have between the 12 frets, and just keep adding. We're adding a whole bunch more fretboards, Jimmy. Here. All right. That's it, y'all. This is just an experiment, y'all. Hey, if y'all like this, give it a thumbs up. Ow, y'all, the mosquitoes are eating. I told myself I was going to punch myself in the face before I went to sleep tonight if I didn't have some fucking mosquito spray. and I'm getting tore up. This sumbit's going to hit my right arm 2 or 3 times. If there's a mosquito god, I'm going to kick that sumbit's ass when I get on the other side. You hear me? There's several gods that better hope that they don't actually manifest in some other realm when I pop over there. Because I'm telling you. And y'all know some of them. We talk about them, don't we? I'm doing my Lewis Black finger. Y'all want me to do some more Lewis Black finger in my videos? I like it. I like stealing stuff from comedians. The first band I was in when we were playing at a club in Montgomery, Alabama, I was a dumbass. I would do comedy, and it was actually kind of well liked. I was actually pretty good at it. And at the what was it? The Greek Goddess. Yeah, it was called the Greek Goddess. It was a lovely older Greek couple that owned this bar, and there's all these. They had to put all these idiot rednecks around Montgomery, Alabama, coming out there and getting drunk and raising hell. Poor things. I hope they did well. That was a long time ago. Y'all have a good one.